like to welcome each and every one of you to the 2023 Flags of Honor ceremony. The first of two ceremonies we're going to do here tonight. The next will be the moving wall. First, with ours, we'll begin with an invocation by Reverend Chad Pemberton.
Very humbly bow our heads before you in this solemn place. Reverence to our fallen heroes in our country, God. We ask, Lord, that you help every one of us, God, to keep in mind, Father, the sacrifice that was made, that we can have moments like this, God, that we can live our lives each and every day. I just pray, Father, that you'd help each one of us, God, to always remember, God, those that gave everything they had in their life. God gave their families up, walked away, and God laid their lives in your line. Pray that you be with each and every speaker here tonight, God. Pray that you be with the singing. God, I pray that everything be done tonight, God, in honor of you, in honor of those that fall on the battlefield. We ask these things in Christ's name, for his sake. Amen.
All right, now we'll have the national anthem sung by Miss Demi Sands. Just barely cuts it. I'm going to see if I can do a little better without it.
Yeah.
All right. Our speaker today for the Flags of Honor ceremony is Major General retired Deborah Ashenhurst, who is the director of the Ohio Department of Veterans Services. She is the first female director for the department and is also the highest ranking military officer to hold that position since the inception in 2008. Director Ashenhurst and the Ohio Department of Veterans Services actually work tirelessly to advocate for Ohio veterans and their families. The department partners with all 88 county veteran service commissions, including our own, and the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to help Ohio veterans and their families obtain well-earned benefits and resources. This is a huge undertaking, as recent statistics published by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs indicate that Ohio has a veteran population of nearly 800,000, making us the sixth largest veteran population in the nation. General Ashenhurst brings a wealth of military and private sector experience to her duties. She has served at all levels of command in the military, from company through brigade and Joint Force Headquarters. Following her retirement, she also served as the Senior Vice President for Military Strategy for R2 Associates and on the Ohio Military Facilities Commission. She is well versed in operating at the state cabinet level, having served 4 years as the Adjutant General of Ohio, which is the commander.
I thought you were just going to say I served with Debbie, and here she is.
Yeah, well, I'm getting there. Okay. She was the commander of all military forces in the state of Ohio, and in that role, this is what I wanted to bear out. This lady standing here beside me actually commanded all 17,000 personnel of the Ohio Army and Air National Guard, the Ohio Military Reserve, and the Ohio Naval Militia. Truly a role model for young women, General Ashenhurst is also the first female ever to hold the position of Adjutant General. Now, given that I have just been encouraged by the General to expedite my introduction, we will forego the list of her many military awards, and we will simply say that she has a military education that corresponds with the experience and the assignments that I've described, and that she resides with her husband, Colonel retired Jim Ashenhurst, also an Army veteran, in Hilliard, Ohio. And if you haven't figured it out by now, despite all these incredible accomplishments, when she first meets anyone, powerful or humble, she usually begins with, "Call me Debbie." So please join me in giving a warm Lawrence County welcome to our district speaker.
I think what I saw from the chaplain is if you eat the microphone, it works. Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to eat this thing. Hey, thanks, Scott. I really, so my coordinator said, do you want him to read your formal bio or just go with what he knows? I said, well, no, it's personal. Let him introduce me personally. So I literally thought he was just going to say, I got to serve with Debbie, and here she is. Yet he gave more of a formal introduction than I normally would. But hey, thanks, Scott. It's a privilege to be here. I really appreciate you thinking of me to come down here. I love this. Not my first Flags of Honor I got to speak with, but every time I find it a moving experience. That when you don't look at a flag, you look at a flag representing a person. Every one of those flags is a person, and I'll come back to that. You know, Ohio is a very patriotic state. We tend to put our kids in the military. I don't know whether we just want them out of the house, or if we just feel that they should get that calling. But we do. And Lawrence County is a particularly patriotic county. If I got my statistics right from Scott, that per capita, Lawrence County exceeds the national average of members going off to war from Lawrence County. So congratulations for recognizing how important it is to have that base in life, that foundation of service to our great nation. And as Scott said, we have hundreds of thousands of veterans in Ohio. So when I took this job, my boss, the governor, says, General, make Ohio the most veteran-friendly state in the nation. I thought, well, heck, I thought it already was. But we found some more ways to improve it, and we're doing that. We must be doing something right because we do keep growing our veteran population. So talking about these flags, there's no greater symbol of patriotism, our nation, and what it means to serve than that flag. We all swear our pledge in front of it when we say we're going to serve and defend this country. And frequently, they're used to drape over the coffin of those that come home as a result of having raised that right hand. So it's Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day. Why do we take time this weekend to honor? Well, we have parades, we have flag ceremonies, we have commemorations, we have cookouts, we have mattress sales, everything for Memorial Day weekend, right? But we have to remember it really is to remember to honor those that did make the ultimate sacrifice. For history can only be not repeated by knowing what has happened in the past. So we need to make sure we know who did what, who gave their lives. But you know, each of these flags doesn't just represent a fallen hero. You know that with every fallen hero there's a family, there's a community, there's a church, there's a neighborhood, there's an employer that was surrounded by that fallen hero. And all of them are impacted when one comes home under that draped flag. And that's what the community is all about. Because when that happens, we wrap ourselves around all of those that are the family, the village that raised that veteran. And make sure, what do we always say? We will never forget. We will always remember. With all the Gold Star families I've had the privilege to talk to, their greatest fear is that their loved one will be forgotten. Their loved one won't always be remembered. So when we hold ceremonies like this, and you have a flag out there, it's telling that family, we didn't forget. We will always remember. And we will make sure to pass down the history of your loved one and all the loved ones who gave their life to make sure that we retain the freedoms that this nation holds so dear. The problem is, we're getting to a place where some of the young people, some of the younger generations don't quite understand the freedoms that we enjoy here in the United States that people don't have overseas. So we have to take opportunities like this to remind them, to go back to that Bill of Rights, the basis, our Constitution, that gives us the rights that we say we hold so dear, to make sure they know that that is why one of these flags is here. Because that person wanted to make sure that their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren also got to live in this country where they had those rights, where they had freedoms, that probably where this person lost their life, individuals didn't have. In the more recent wars, we realized that the women were held so far back that the young girls didn't even get to go to school. And I try to talk to young girls about that you need to understand it's a privilege that you get to go to school. It's a privilege that you get to grow up and be anything you want in these United States of America. It is not that way in other countries, and they don't get it. But someday, I just hope I planted that seed that will grow so they will take the time to learn what they have here. So each of these flags represents a person, but also a legacy. And we need to make sure that legacy is never forgotten. It's honorable to serve. It's an honor to serve. And it's an honor that we make sure that they're never forgotten. Joining the military is a strong start in life for most of the people that come back, and we have to realize that most people do come home from war. Some of them come home with a little extra in their rucksack and carry a few more burdens, and hopefully we're able to help them and get them through the rough times to where they can get back to society. But it gives such a strong foundation in life when young people start their adult life in service to this nation and in service to others. What I'd like to share is that right now, less than 1% of the young people in that targeted age to join our military has someone in their family that served. And in the past, that's what probably brought a lot of us to the service. My dad served, my brother served, my husband served, my nephews served. It's a strong family thing for me. And to realize a lot of people don't have that exposure. So when we have times like this, when we're talking about those that did serve, we need to remind our young people, it's a good start in life. It's not a default anymore. I know we have some Vietnam veterans in the crowd, and thank you for your service and welcome home. But that's not a default. You have to qualify to join our military these days. It's not easy, and there's a lot to qualify. And less than 24% of the youth in Ohio today that are eligible in that age for recruitment, less than 25% of them are eligible to join our military. It is an elite opportunity. But we need to make sure that our young people know that. Not so that we can have more flags planted in the ground in Lawrence County, but that we can have more people who understand the privilege of this country and what it means to serve the people of this country. So I just want to say how much I admire you for doing this every year. I admire you for having the parade that's how many, 155 years old? I mean, what a great legacy you have here and in Lawrence County, and I appreciate that, I honor that, I respect that, and I'm so happy to be a part of it this year. Thanks for having me.
Okay, at this time, we will place the flags for the 3 service members killed in action in the global war on terror.
I have the honor, it's important for me, but I have to think. I have the honor of telling you our local guys, our local servicemen who were killed in action. The first one is Justin Allen. He has a friend, Cody, who's going to place his flag in the field. Our next young man was Theodore Church. Are you Mrs. Church? Mrs. Betty Church will place his flag in the field. Our last man is David Ford. I don't know if there's anyone here from his family, but if there is and you would like to place his flag, please step forward. I would also like to let you know that we have a Congressional Medal of Honor flag in our field that hangs in front of us. His bio is on a table back there if you'd like to find out a little bit more about him. I believe he was only 23 years old at that time. 26 years old at the time. Thank you.
All right, folks, at this time, DFW Post 8850 is going to fire the 3 volleys, and you will hear taps played by Michael Smith. thank you all on behalf of the committee for joining us for this ceremony. We ask that you all remain in place for the next ceremony. And without further ado, I turn the program over to Michael Patterson.